He's back to pass. Pressure coming. He's going to get hit in the end zone. That's going to be a safety.
It's now time for Gridiron State of the Union.
Another touchdown, Porter Ridge, and they've gone up. The score is 23-17.
Presented by DMR Reconstruction, North Carolina's leader in quality insurance restoration services, with crews on standby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. DMR Reconstruction has your restoration needs covered. Give them a call at 704-327-4028.
He's going to hand it off to Byram. Byram on the right-hand side. He's going to be into the end zone. Touchdown, Monroe.
Gridiron State of the Union is your insider's look each week into Union County High School football.
He's got daylight. He's in. Grayson Willingham.
Now we head into the DMR Reconstruction Studio and your host, Brian Stevenson.
Back to pass, 15 seconds and counting. Heavy pressure coming. He fires it out. He's got a receiver open in the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown, Sun Valley. What a play. 4.9 seconds remain. One play is what separates Sun Valley from victory. Backfield shotgun formation. They have back to pass. He rolls out to the right. Steps up. Pressure coming. He gets hit as he throws the ball. The time expires, and this one's going to be caught. Touchdown! He caught it! Touchdown! Weddington, what a play! Oh, my God. Weddington catches it on the final play. Touchdown, Weddington. Brian, talk to Coach Carson.
Well, Coach, your thoughts. Wow, that's it. Both teams fighting back hard. That's all you can ask for. Heck of a ball game all around.
I have to agree with Coach Tim Carson. Heck of a ball game all around. Weddington's Hail Mary pass is answered as the clock expired in one of the most dramatic finishes I've ever seen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm Brian Stevenson. You heard the game right here on Wixie last Friday night. Sun Valley scores on a Hail Mary-type pass with 9 seconds to go. The Spartans are assessed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty during the celebration. That 15-yard penalty backs up the kickoff, and then Weddington runs that kick back to about the 50-yard line and gets their one shot. David Bayah launches the 51-yard pass downfield into the hands of a leaping Blaze Arthur Wong as time expires. Arthur Wong makes the catch, dives into the end zone, and Weddington gets the victory. We'll talk more about that game in a little bit. But in other Union County High School action last week, Marvin Ridge increases the win streak to 6 with the win over Piedmont. Forest Hills took care of West Stanley. Cuthbertson squeaked by Anson. Monroe shut out Parkwood. Central falls to Mount Pleasant, and Butler rolls over Porter Ridge. For more on those games and a look at this week ahead, we take our trip around Union. And as always, we start with Sideline Mike and our WIXC Game of the Week.
Cuthbertson at Sun Valley is our WIXC Game of the Week. Last week, Cuthbertson squeaked by Anson 20-14. The win snaps a 4-game losing streak for the Cavaliers. Cuthbertson is now 4-5 overall, 1-2 in the Southern Carolina Conference. Their opponent, Sun Valley, is trying to bounce back after that heartbreaking loss to Weddington last week. The Spartans literally had the game until the last second. For most of the game, their defense held the Warriors in check, and on offense, Sam Howell continues to impress. The freshman quarterback threw for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns in the loss. Find out if the Spartans bounce back this week or if the Cavaliers can win 2 in a row when you tune in to the WIXC Game of the Week this week. Coverage begins Friday night at 7 o'clock. Next up, Porter Ridge at East Meck. The tough year continues for the Pirates. Last week, they lost to Butler 76-7. It's been a tough year for the Porter Ridge faithful. The loss drops them to 1-8 on the year. Their opponent, East Meck, comes in to Friday night's game with a 4-5 record. That's the report on the Pirates. Now let's go to Derek Skinner.
Marvin Ridge hosts Anson on Friday night. The Mavericks are on a 6-game win streak after a 34-24 win over Piedmont last week. Austin Colonna had a great game, throwing for 340 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Mavericks are undefeated in the Southern Carolina Conference, and a win would give Marvin Ridge a shot at the conference title next week against Weddington. Next up, Forest Hills at Central Academy. The Yellow Jackets are undefeated in the Rocky River Conference. Last week, they beat West Stanley. Floyd Llewellyn ran for 113 yards and a score in the win. Their opponent on Friday night is Central Academy. The Cougars lost to Mount Pleasant last week 48-21. The loss dropped Central to 4-4 on the year. That's a report on the Jackets versus the Cougars. Now let's head to Ken Ogden.
Monroe continues to have a spectacular season. The Red Hawks remain undefeated with a 38-0 win over Parkwood. It's the Red Hawks' third shutout of the season, and quarterback Zeph Wall threw for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. 2 of those were to Jalen Nixon, who had 110 yards receiving. A win on Friday night would set up a showdown with Forest Hills for the conference crown next week. Next up, Parkwood at Mount Pleasant. The Rebels are trying to rebound after being shut out by Monroe last week. Parkwood is 1-2 in the Rocky River and dropped to 4-5 overall. That's the exact same record of the Mount Pleasant Tigers. And finally tonight, Weddington travels to Unionville to face Piedmont. The Warriors are coming off a dramatic last-second win last week against Sun Valley. The win keeps their record perfect in the Southern Carolina Conference. Their opponent would like to change that. The Piedmont Panthers have had a good season under first-year coach Luke Hyatt. The Panthers are 6-3 overall, but they are only 1-2 in the Southern Carolina Conference. That completes our trip around Union. And now, let's go back to the studio and Brian Stevenson.
Thanks a lot, Ken. When we come back, Shane Green joins us for our roundtable segment, Gridiron State of the Union. We'll be right back.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you exclusively by DMR Reconstruction. Fire, water, wind, or mold damage, they are your go-to source. And if you're thinking about remodeling, from the tip top of the roof to the bottom of the foundation, they can handle it for you. Windows, doors, paint, floors, vinyl siding, they do it all at DMR Reconstruction. Stop by and visit their showroom on Highway 74 in Marshville, North Carolina. You'll be glad you did. 704-327-4028, 327-4028, and they hope you're enjoying the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you by DMR Reconstruction.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. Time now for our roundtable segment, and I'm joined by Shane Green. And Shane, start off talking about last week's game. I don't think I've ever seen an ending as exciting as the one that we got to call Weddington and Sun Valley last Friday night.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It was just equal shock all over the stadium. The fans on both sides of the stadium were shocked. Coach Carson was shocked. Coach Balcom was shocked. We were all in shock. It was just one of those moments where for about 10 seconds nobody kind of knew what to do.
You know, talk about the I know what the emotions we felt just calling it. Can you imagine the swing of emotions for those high school kids? Both teams thought they lost it and then won it all within the last 15 seconds of the game.
Yeah, that's the absolute truth. You know, I've seen games that were better all around, solid football games. I've never seen one that ended that exciting, and there's no way for you not to feel sorry for Tad Balcom and the Spartans. They've had a up and down season. They've won some really close games, and you can't come any closer to beating a team as solid as Weddington as they did last week, only to come away with a loss.
Well, it's hard to believe we're already down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season, but we are. The big rivalry games next week. We'll talk about that next week with the Forest Hills and Monroes, but really this is shaping up to be a strong November, December here coming up, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We've been very fortunate in this county to call a lot of postseason football games and state championship games, and we got a couple of teams in the hunt this year. It wouldn't surprise me if we're not doing and I hate to put the cart ahead of the horse, but it wouldn't surprise me if we don't get the opportunity again this season. Still
a few decisions to be made as far as who's going to be first place, second place, that sort of thing, but a game, Sun Valley is kind of out of the conference championship race, but we're going to see these guys again this week playing a Cuthbertson team that really, I don't think you can say anything more than they've been a disappointment to what we thought they would be.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know how to read into that. I don't know what to take away from it. I know that everybody was super excited about them coming into the season this year, and it just never did translate to the game situation for Cuthbertson. So that being said, I'm sure they've got something to prove. I'm sure they'd like to knock Sun Valley off, but they're just really going to have to show me something this week for that to happen.
Well, of course, that's why they line them up on Friday nights, and we'll have that one. It should be a good one. With our history with games this year, I would think if you're one of these teams, you're feeling good because we've had some really good games. But Shane Green, our roundtable guest this week, and of course you can hear that Sun Valley versus Cuthbertson matchup on Friday night. And coming up next, it'll be our Coach's Corner segment on Gridiron State of the Union.
This quick break in the action is brought to you by DMR Reconstruction, the exclusive sponsor of the Gridiron State of the Union. One of these days, you're going to want to do home improvement. New windows, new doors. Maybe you got hardwood floors you want to refinish, or you need new carpet or flooring. DMR Reconstruction is your go-to source. They also specialize in fire, water, wind, and mold damage restoration. They'll even help you deal with the insurance companies. Visit the showroom in Marshville, North Carolina, or give them a call at 704-327-4028, 24/7 for emergencies, 327-4028. Let them know you heard about them here on Wixie. And now back to more of the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you by DMR Reconstruction.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. Time now for our Coach's Corner segment, and it's my pleasure to be joined by the coach of the Weddington Warriors, Tim Carson. And Coach, last time we saw each other was at a pretty exciting moment right after that game on Friday night out on about the 50-yard line. I know that had to be a huge win just in conference, but now that that's all had time to sink in and now you've progressed toward Piedmont, talk about just for a moment that game and what it meant to your men on senior night.
Well, I mean, it was a game. Yeah, Sun Valley's a good football team. They came out, played a great first half. We, I didn't think we played well. Turned the ball over a few times. But then, second half we came out, was able to run the ball a good bit, and and come back. And we got back and took the lead and gave up Sun Valley's done the last, I think, about 3 or 4 times. Won the game in the last few seconds, and the kid got behind us and made a great pass and catch to go up with 9 seconds. And I tell you, it was exciting to see our kids fight back and not give up on that last play.
How was it coming into Monday practice to get these guys? I know you've got a good group of leaders there, but tell me about how you kind of gear down, if you will, from the emotion of that win to get down to business.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, but I think we had to go back and point out the mistakes that we had, and let our kids that we've got to get our heads on straight and play a little tougher. And not turn the ball over, not make as many mistakes.
No such thing as an easy night in this conference. You've got 2 more weeks to then talk about winning a conference championship. Piedmont comes in this week. You guys are heading over to Unionville. Talk about this is a much different game plan for Piedmont than you've probably had to encounter all season.
Well, I mean, Coach Hyatt's done a great job of coaching the kids and, putting in a new system offensively and something that, nobody around here plays against and sees. So, I mean, it's different. It's a change for every defensive coordinator out there. It's totally different. So, I mean, it's more the old school smash mouth football, and they've got some good-sized kids up front and running backs and do a heck of a job with it. And it's going to be a tough challenge. If you look at it, they've scored some points on everybody. And, hopefully we can – score a few more than they do.
What is going to be the key to getting another victory for Weddington on Friday night?
Well, I think get some stops. Our defense has got to get some stops, and then our offense, when we have the ball, we need to get some points out of it and not turn the ball over. I think, we can't let points not be on the board. We've got to get them, and so we've got to get some stops. The offense that they run is, like I said, different, and they get up there and they come at you, and we've got to get some stops.
Thanks a lot to Coach Tim Carson for being our Coach's Corner guest this week.
Time for Extra Points.
In my Extra Points tonight, a little bit of a rant. Last Friday night, after Sun Valley scored with 9 seconds to go, they were assessed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for excessive celebration. The 15-yard penalty was assessed on the kickoff. That penalty played some part in the final play where Weddington's Hail Mary pass was caught for the winning score. While I understand the rule was instituted to keep players from showboating and taunting, I don't think there is anything wrong with genuinely celebrating an exciting moment like that as a team. It's unfortunate that penalties like that have impacts on a terrific football game. And with that, we are all out of time. Special thanks to DMR Reconstruction for being our sponsor each week, and thank you, the listener, for tuning in. We have examined the state of our union, and I can report it is good. Good night, everybody.